burdensome taxes, that promise must be fulfilled without equivocation or delay. Accordingly, if approved, nominee for finance must be prepared to take decisive and concrete steps to present Parliament with a comprehensive and actionable plan for removal of the said taxes without delay. These measures must be reflected in the President's first budget and economic policy statement to this House, or even before that document is presented. Let it be clear one more time that this House will not entertain any equivocation, delays, or excuses. Promises made to the people must be honored fully and without hesitation. Now we go to the role of public participation. As we embark on this journey, Ghanaian public is being encouraged to fully participate, get involved, say something and do something. Appointment committee only serves as a conduit for the collective wisdom and vigilance of the citizenry. We urge members of the public, once again, to come forward with memos and any pertinent information regarding the nominees in the public interest. Concluding, Chairman, members, parliamentary press corps, and fellow citizens, the task before us demands clarity of purpose, intellectual rigor, and an unbending commitment to the principles of good governance. And as we begin this vetting process, let us remember that we do not, as representatives of the political parties, but as custodians of the public trust. Let us approach this sacred duty with diligence, integrity, and resolve to ensure that only those who meet the highest standards of competence and character are entrusted with the reins of our nation's governance. May our deliberations be guided by wisdom, fairness, and an unshakable commitment to the good of Ghana. Thank you very much indeed, colleagues.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minority Leader, for the thesis. Honorable members, we all know that the tone of the communication and the reference, comparatively to asking Parliament by way of communication from the President to desist and refrain from submitting a bill passed by the House to the President, I mean, Ghanaians are in to do comparison. Honorable members, it is stated in the case of Boy Fuel versus NTAC that in all these matters, it is the substance that matters, not the form. May I have the pleasure to invite the nominee to take his seat. Honorable members, I call upon the clerk of the committee to administer the oath.
I hereby administer the oath to the nominee.
I, Cassiel Atoba Forsen,
Swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honourable members, as tradition demands, can we proceed to do self-introduction? Starting from the chair, my name is Bernard Ahiafo, Member of Parliament for Akachi South Constituency and the First Deputy Speaker of the 9th Parliament.
Honorable Emmanuel Makufibwa, Elembele.
Mahama Ayaruga, Boku Central.
Mahama Shaibu, Daboya Mankarabo.
Agnes Namomulate Kroo.
Comfort Doyo Kuju Ada.
Gideon Boako, I represent the people of the Tana North constituency.
Mahamang Tia Abdul Kabir, Wale constituency.
Koko Asante, Etiwa West constituency.
Cheneboa Kodia Foko, Manson Kwanta constituency.
Isaac Adongo, Bogatanga Central.
John Darko, Swami.
Dr. Steve Namwa, Nishiaso constituency in the Ashanti region.
Lawrence Sergeant Sam, Himalaya Wardenshire.
Michael Edu, Oferu Group constituency.
Samuel Kwekapem North constituency. Charles Forson, Tama Central.
Andrew Dachuite, Solatona Calvary.
Titus Bayo, Lambuse constituency.
Jerry Ahmed Shaib, Wejak Bawi.
Al Hassan Kobragansa, Esikmodo Bimbrakwa constituency.
Thomas Ampimnyako, Eso Jaman.
Richard Achampon, Bia East.
Al Hassan Omar, Zabzugu.
Patrick Yabuamo, Kankri Central.
Kwame Abuja, MP for Adaklu.
Patricia Apieje, MP for Asqua.
Alexander Kwamina Afenyo Markin, MP for Efutu.
Honourable members, we have 11-member committee with 4 coming from the subject matter committees, and the rest are friends to the committee. Honourable members, may I ask the nominee to, you want the permanent?
Chairman, thank you. Just to make this point to the nominee, Dr. Forson, the practice of the House has always been that our leaders, because of the peculiar role they play, are treated in a certain way at vetting. Because you are going to hold the public purse, and you are going to be the most important person in this government, the face of all that has to be achieved in terms of fiscal policy, governance, spending, etc. Please bear with your colleagues for some specific matters of policy. I just want to assure you that this right of yours has not been waived, and I would want you to be assured over and over again That is what all leaders since 1997 have gone through. I watched the vetting of G.H. Mensah. I watched that of Alban Kingsford Smart Ababin. I watched that of Honorable Meche Mensah Bonsu. I watched that of Honorable Harun Idrisu, Honorable Benjamin Kumbo. So yours will not be an exception, as in you being denying that. But there are some policy issues that the Ghanaian public will know because of the portfolio you are going to occupy. So please indulge us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. May we proceed? Nominee, may you tell us about yourself?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my name is Kasiel Ato Forsen. I represent the good people of Ejumakon Enyan Esiam. In fact, I have represented them since 2009. So this is my 17th year in representing my constituents. I'm a third born from a family of my mother's side of 7. I have a wife, I have 4 children. I'm currently the leader of the majority side of NDC, majority side of Parliament. I'm also serving as the leader of government business as we speak. I have served in the past at the Finance Committee, of which I served 6 years as the ranking member of the Finance Committee. I've been a Deputy Minister of Finance for 4 years, and I've been a minority leader in the last 2 years. Thank you very much.
Leader, I noticed that in your CV, your name is Kasiel Ato Forsen. The letter from the Secretary to the President, which letter I interrogated, also has the same. But when you introduced yourself, you said you are Ato Forsen. Have you abandoned the Kasiel? Maybe I didn't hear. So,
Honorable Member, my name is not Kasiel. My name is Kasiel.
Okay, very well.
I can't abandon my first
So
name.
Kasiel.
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 Ato Forsen.
Good.
Thank you.
I've been saying Kasiel. So Kasiel. Ato Forsen. Very well, great. Thank you.
Honorable.
Thank you. Congratulations, Honorable Chairman.
Happy New Year! It is the perfect time to move into a new home. At Senko Home Dowenya, we have designed and crafted homes with your taste, preference, and budget in mind for a limited time. Take advantage of up to 20% off discounts on our off-plan deals for 3 to 4 bedroom houses in our gated community, conveniently located near the Aflaho Highway. Each house, whether single or one-story, all room en suite with fitted wardrobe, kitchens with fitted cabinets, spacious living and dining areas, spacious car park with gardens. As a resident of Senko Homes, you will enjoy 24-hour security, swimming pool, children's playground, shopping area, gym and spa, riverside garden, paved roads with green landscaping, offering total luxury. Don't miss this opportunity. Book now and make a reservation. Call us on 053 909 9533 or visit our website on www.sh.sencodevelopers.com.
The discretion of the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you mean very well for the country, Ghanaians. You've been a deputy minister, so I know you come with a lot of experience. But honorable nominee, I'd like to just indicate that your answers here carry a lot of weight. The investor community, both local and international, are watching and listening to every statement that you make here today. So I just want to, I know that you'll be mindful. Of course, there's no pressure. My first question, Mr. Chairman.
Well, honorable members, when you are asked to ask question, proceed to ask the question and let's limit the commentaries.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman.
wait.
I just wanted to congratulate.
Wait. Please put off your mind. Chairman, with the greatest respect. Chairman, it's not just a guide. The member is a new member. We have all practiced at the bar. We know what some of these things do to a person on his or her feet. I beg of you one more time. We are here to cooperate with you. Let's be tolerant. You've been in the minority before. You know what it is. Because this vetting, although it is majority-minority, you know that the work itself is being done by the minority. So please allow members to flow. I beg of you. I want us to have a very decent engagement and be stable in all we're doing. I'm begging you.
Honorable Patrick Bowman.
Chairman, thank you very much. I think the finance minister's position, like Honorable Koko rightly said, is very, very important. We know what the leader is made of. But sometimes some foundations ought to be laid to guide the nominee in his answers. Because she said the investor community, both locally and internationally, will be watching and listening. And these are very important partners in our growth program. So if she's going to ask a question that the investor community will be interested in, please, she ought to be given the opportunity to lay some foundation to the question. It doesn't hurt anybody. Thank you.
Honorable Abuja.
Chairman, I just want to appeal to all colleagues, especially the respected minority leader. I've been around this table and I saw when Honorable Ato Forson was the ranking and Honorable Joe Wise was the chair. What I saw was I didn't see Honorable Ato Forson trying to be co-chair. At the moment, so far, people watching might think you are a co-chair. So I'm just appealing to you. Your role in this is very important. Without a doubt, it's very important. So for the viewing public, we'll just plead that the two of you should manage such that the interaction between the two of you does not appear as if there's a struggle for power. So I don't have much to say that. We have started well, but if possible, let there be one chair which we all defer to, and then we can make progress. So we're good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honourable members, we had a preliminary meeting and we agreed on the roadmap. Therefore, I will not be happy where the committee will resume work and will be denigrating. So, honourable members, ask a question. Please, proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, as I've taken, I notified you. Chairman,
the ranking cannot interject anytime you speak. It's completely out of order. You cannot interject anytime the chairman speaks. not the chairman of this committee.
Chairman, thank you very much. I tapped you for your leave, and I didn't just get up to make an input. Chairman, also with the greatest respect to you, in all humility, please, this situation where you are more or less directing the member, please, I would not co-chair with you. I know my position. I'm the ranking. I'm pleading with you too. You and I are practitioners, and we know what some of these comments mean. So please allow the member to put her thought together. She's a new member, her first time in this exercise. She is a woman. Let us allow her to build her confidence. Let us allow her to flow. Let us allow her to lay the necessary foundation upon which the question will be mounted, so that the people watching and listening would appreciate, so that the member, the nominee himself, will also appreciate the question. So I am pleading with you. I would not co-chair with you. I have cooperated with you thus far. I will not stand in your way. We are in this together. But please tolerate the views we express, and we'll do so in utmost respect to you. Please. Thank you very much.
Please proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, you're on record, I believe on January 9th, it was reported by Reuters, that you're going to request additional financing from the IMF. What proposal do you intend to present to the IMF?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, inaccurate reportage. I did not say I am going to request for additional financing from the IMF. Inaccurate. What I said was we could request for additional finances if the need arises. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
My second question, honorable nominee, is Ghana, like many other countries, depends on taxation as one of the major sources of revenue to fund development. As a matter of fact, one of the conditions of the IMF, the current arrangement with the IMF, is to enhance local revenue mobilization. The NDC party promised Ghanaians to scrap a number of taxes. So how do you intend, if you're given the nod as the Minister of Finance, to bridge the revenue gap?
Honorable nominee, the floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, let me say this is an excellent question. Mr. Chairman, Ghana currently collects approximately 13.8% of GDP in terms of tax revenue, according to the latest data I've cited as part of the transition. It is obvious that we can do better. I've studied the Ghana economy for some time, and I can say without mentioning a word that Ghana has huge potential when it comes to tax revenue mobilization. You don't necessarily have to increase taxes before you rake in revenue. We have the handles. What we need to do is to improve compliance. I will work with the JRA, the Tax Policy Unit of the Ministry of Finance, to ensure that we increase compliance and to raise the revenue as much as we can. Yes, in the medium term, it is my vision, when approved, to increase the revenue from 13.8, tax revenue from 13.8% of GDP to about 16 to 18%. That will be able to compare ourselves to our peers. I believe the potentials are out there. It doesn't necessarily mean we should increase taxes. Yes, we have obviously announced that we are going to scrap certain taxes. We'll stick to just that. But doesn't also mean that we don't care about the revenue. We care about the revenue. And we will have to do more on revenue. But it doesn't necessarily mean we should increase taxes. Some of the taxes out there are not bringing in the revenue that it should. For example, the betting tax is bringing in less than 50 million Ghana cedis a year. It's a nuisance tax. Scrapping 50 million Ghana cedis will not mean anything in a way that will affect the economy if you are to adjust, particularly from the expenditure side. I mean, the noise with the betting tax and all does not comprehend the imposition of such a tax. And so I believe that scrapping such a tax will not necessarily affect the forward march of the Ghanaian economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your last question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Historically, there have been a lot of macroeconomic policy focus on inflation and exchange rates. Yet the AGI and others in the private sector still complain of high interest rates affecting their businesses. So what are you going to do, given a nod, differently? What are you going to do differently to ensure that our macroeconomic policies are more effective in lowering interest rates for the private sector? Thank you.
Thank you. I think government has a key role to play in this, particularly the fiscal authorities. I say this because if the country is actively in the market borrowing every week, I mean, if you look at the T-bill market today, every single week we roll over 111 billion Ghana cedis. And if you were to roll over 111 billion Ghana cedis week in, week out, the exchange rate, the interest rate will certainly go up. And you should also understand that interest rate sometimes is a function of inflation. And that is why, personally, I believe there was the need for us to immediately work to bring inflation down. And then also work in such a way that we can stabilize inflation, stabilize the exchange rate, and create jobs. Until we do such a thing, certainly the concerns you've raised will still be there. And there's a lot of work we have to do. It starts from the fiscal authorities. We need to cut expenditure. The time is now. We have to cut the waste. And if you cut the waste, certainly you'll be able to, you will not be able to, you will certainly go to the market in a careful way that you will not be borrowing as much as you are borrowing today. And that in itself, you won't crowd out the private sector and you will be bringing down the inflation in a way that interest rate will come down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Minority Leader, the ranking member, has one follow-up question.
Thank you. Chairman, thank you very much. How do you juxtapose that within the context of your previous position in respect of incentives to the private sector? We've had a private sector policy by the previous government where the whole intent was to free the space for the private sector so that they can invest more, so that they can employ more. You held a position strongly against that incentive, that taxes be necessarily imposed on raw materials that are imported for manufacturing purposes in the country, on equipment that are imported for manufacturing in the country, and all others. How do you juxtapose that?
Mr. Chairman, my position.
Honorable nominee, before you come in. Honorable Mama Yarga is on point of order.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the nominee did not say that taxes should not be imposed on raw materials. The issue was whether or not taxes already imposed should be received or exempted by this House. So let's communicate accurately.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ayerga. The nominee is capable of answering the question, so proceed to answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my position on tax exemptions are well known. I do not intend to hide from that, and I won't hide from that. Mr. Chairman, tax exemption is gradually becoming a major source of tax expenditure in our fiscal framework. unfortunately, it's not properly targeted. And so you see a situation where we exempt huge volumes of our taxes to particular companies. At the same time, because we are exempting those taxes, we end up increasing these tax rates for so many other people to pay. I believe everyone else must be given the opportunity to pay taxes. My concern, particularly with the one that you are making reference to, I'm sure it has to do with 1D, 1F. It is not transparent enough. I do not believe that certain individuals must be privileged enough to get tax exemptions, whilst others doing the same should not be given the opportunity to get tax exemption. And I have contended in the past that if the government insists on tax exemption for 1D, 1F, they should put it in the law and allow everyone else to benefit from such tax exemption. My main concern, particularly my criticism against the 1D, 1F, has to do with the opaque manner that it has been done in the past. And I still stand by that. If the government, or if this current government still believes that tax exemption 1D, 1F is irrelevant, then obviously my suggestion is put it in the law. Let everyone benefit from it, but don't pick and choose and decide who should benefit from such a tax exemption. I think it's wrong, and taxation must be fair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your last follow-up question.
Chairman, thank you. Leader, I'm making this point as a result of what you just said. Yes, you complain of the lack of transparency. But for the records, and Honorable Yabuama is here, he chaired the committee. You may recall that as a result of those concerns, government at the time was able to meet those concerns to the extent that there was even a waiver on one item, raw materials. In fact, let me say not waiver, the raw materials component was taken out of the whole exemption. And through scrutiny, the request was very much reduced. Would you say that it was purely political because those concerns were addressed? But you still said no.
Mr. Chairman, I have no regrets for saying no. I have no regrets in the sense that when these taxes were introduced, tax exemptions were introduced to us in this House, initially we were called upon to exempt approximately $458 million. Upon my insistence, the Minister of Finance went back to working together with the Minister for Trade and brought it down to about $100 million. So straight away, I saved the nation approximately $400 million, about $358 million, obviously because of my insistence. I still felt there was the need for us to do more. And that $100 million, I could still see things that I disagree. And so, Mr. Chairman, I have no regrets, and I think I did what is right for Ghana and for all of us. Because clearly, it wasn't right for us to grant some of those tax exemptions. I wasn't alone. Colleagues from the Finance Committee agreed with me, and together we fought it. But obviously, I did not champion this alone. Let me also use this platform to pay tribute to Honorable Kweku Kwati. Honorable Kweku Kwati was instrumental in the fight against this tax exemption because he agreed with me that these taxes were certainly not right, and we are working for Ghana. And if we can save $558 million, look at Accra Kumasi Road. We could use that money to fix the Accra Kumasi Road. I think it wasn't necessary for us to approve that tax and those concerns. It's not personal, it's not political, but we did it with the right intention, obviously for God and country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Foku Junibua.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable Cassil Atoban Forson, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Being nominated as Minister Designate for Finance. I've got a few questions. The first one, can you tell us how you are going to fund the government machinery, given that now there is no appetite for lenders to give money on long term, and the money market segment is already crowded, as you initially alluded to. So how are you going to fund government machinery? Lenders are not ready to give long term. The money market end is already crowded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in the short term, we need to, Mr. Chairman, in the short term, we need to bring confidence back. It's as important as anything. My proposal is for us to immediately introduce a very strong budget, signaling that we are ready to do the heavy liftings. That first budget will indeed send the right signal that Ghana is ready to open our doors for investors to come into the country. I believe if we are to introduce strong measures, particularly from the expenditure side, we will be able to bring inflation down to 8% plus or minus 2. In doing so, we'll be able to reopen the domestic bond market so that we can move away from the over-reliance of the treasury bill market. And so we'll be able to, at a minimum, smoothen the harms that has been created as a result of the domestic debt exchange and the Eurobond. And so we need to bring confidence back. But you know, if you are confronted with a situation where you do not have financing, then there's the need for you to look within. Let's deal with expenditure. Let's cut expenditure. Let us not pretend that there's money out there for us. Just like it has been done in somewhere, we can also do it here. My proposal is, let's look at the expenditure side as well. It shouldn't always be borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. It's time for us to cut the waste, and so I will lead the process to cut the waste. And I will need you, honorable members, to help me cut the waste so that we live and stay within the envelope that we can. But when push comes to shove, obviously, we will work with our development partners, such as the Africa Development Bank, the World Bank, the European Union, and other bilateral agencies, including the IMF, to raise cheaper sources of financing to finance government expenditure, particularly where expenditures that can lead to a proper growth and inclusive growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Thank you, Minister Designate. My second question, you've already given a hint on it, which relates to tax exemptions. Particularly, what I want to hear from you, or what I would expect you to tell this committee, is that the Exemptions Act of 2022, Act 1083, allows the states to take equity stake in entities that apply for tax exemptions. This has never been applied, though the Act allows it. Can you tell this committee that under your regime, you'll be bold enough to apply these aspects of the Act? The entities that come for tax exemptions, you'll be ready to go in for equity stake for this country. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's now great. We've done one, I think last year. Honorable Abina will bear me witness. Honorable Kweku Kouaten championed it. In fact, I seconded the motion for us to set the tone and allow to implement the Tax Exemption Act, particularly the portion that allows government of Ghana to take equity stake. So we've done once, and as a champion against tax exemptions, and someone who insists that tax exemption must also count, you can count on me that I will do whatever it takes, that when push comes to shove, that we have to grant tax exemption. The country must benefit. You can count on me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So everyone has heard and will be watching. My third question, you know, it is commonly known that we generate really nothing much from the informal sector when it comes to taxes. And if you look at the mid-year budget of 2024, if you look at page 107, you realize that tax from PAYE, if you look at the revised budget, it's about 21.113 billion cedis. Whereas taxes from self-employed for the same period is just about 1.572 billion cedis. So this is a ratio of 13:1. So the formal sector, PAYE, revenue from those taxes, is 13 times what we get from all the self-employed. So the gap is so big. What would you do practically to close this gap? A gap of 13:1. What would you do practically?
Remember, this is a very valid question and very interesting one. I think there's a genuine concern. First, we need to formalize the informal sector. Second, we need to encourage them to formally register with the Revenue Authority. And third, we need to incentivize them. We can learn from Uganda. Uganda has been able to incentivize the informal sector. And as such, they are collecting more taxes from the informal sector than most of sub-Saharan African countries. The question is, what have they done? What Uganda did was to agree through tax education that a percentage of whatever you pay will be used as your pension contribution, even as the informal sector. And so my proposal is, why can't we encourage, or through taxes education, encourage the informal sector by instituting an informal sector pension scheme where you will plow back, let's say 30%. It doesn't mean quote me for 30%. Let's say 30% of whatever you pay as your contribution from your income tax, as your contribution to your to formalize the informal sector and to incentivize them to pay. The options are there. I'm open for advice. I will listen, and I'm ready, as when approved as minister, to work with all of you to see what we can do to allow the informal sector also to contribute their widow's mite towards the development of our dear country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will then move to the majority side to take questions from the leaders of the Finance Committee. Starting from Honorable Azika Dongo.
Thank you very much, Chairman. First, I want to congratulate my honorable colleague, with whom I have worked closely over the years, but also to thank His Excellency for the privilege to bring a thoroughbred finance person from this house, who was involved in oversight for 6 years and practiced in government for another 4 years. When I was invited, I asked myself, what questions are there to ask Honorable Afo-Foforse? Because we have always been on this side preparing solutions, and I have been in meetings where you and I have led conversations on the way forward to save our country.
Honorable Azika,
all I can say here is that
commentary and go straight to the question.
I believe that my colleagues are better placed because I know your quality and what you bring on board. So I have nothing to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Adongo. It's now the turn of Richard Achampong.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Leader, congratulations. I've worked with you since 2013 to date, so I know what you stand for. So, Mr. Chairman, I have only one question for you. Mr. Nominee, how do you plan to address the country's fiscal challenges and ensure debt sustainability? Thank you very much.
Honorable Nominee, your answer.
Mr. Chairman, Ghana's debt management in the past few years has been a major cause of concern. It is sad to know that the country has gone through a very difficult debt exchange, domestic. It's also sad to note that we had to restructure our Eurobonds. In order to not to repeat the past mistakes, we intend to establish an independent debt management office. But in the meantime, we have a major harm that we have to deal with. For example, on the 18th of February, about 6.8 billion Ghana cedis will be due for payment. It is our responsibility to make sure we pay. And the Ministry of Finance, I believe, at this time are preparing to make that payment. My responsibility is to make sure what has happened in the past does not repeat. And so I will do just that. I will work with the Ministry of Finance. I will work with our development partners. I will do whatever it takes to avoid a second wave of the crisis we faced in 2022. That I can assure you.
Thank you very much. Any further question? In the absence of any further question, it's now the turn of Honorable Agnes Namomo Latte.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for giving me the opportunity to ask the nominee. I will begin by congratulating the Honorable Leader for this high office being nominated to. I would want to find out from the Honorable nominee his general vision for revenue mobilization. We've heard bits and pieces, and it's exciting to hear more what your vision is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You may proceed to answer the question.
Thank you very much. I worked under Honorable Seth Tepe for 4 years, an astute tax practitioner. I learned under him. He used to meet the revenue authorities once every fortnight. As a result, we saw our revenue improving. What I can assure you is that learning from an Honorable Seth and seeing the way our revenue increased in the shortest possible time, I'll go by the same approach. But aside that, I would dedicate considerable amount of my time towards revenue mobilization. Ministers of Finance often have not paid enough attention to revenue mobilization. I think we should not allow GRA alone to mobilize the revenue. The Ministers of Finance will have a role to play, and I'll play such a role. As I said, I will dedicate considerable amount of my attention towards revenue mobilization and to help improve the revenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
I only want to wish the nominee very well.
Thank you. All members, it's now the turn of Honorable Abena Osei Asari to pose a question to the nominee. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I see you are smiling because I've been in your shoes before. And less than a year ago, I was sitting here and you were sitting there firing questions at me. But I want to use this opportunity to congratulate you. I think you have worked very hard. You put us on our toes when you were in government. And I hope to do the same constructively moving forward. So I wish you well. Just 1 or 2 questions, and that will be it because you are now moving there. You've been there before. You were there as a deputy minister. You are now going as the finance minister yourself. and I know that a lot of decisions will rest or come from you. I remember that in 2023, during the budget, you mentioned the fact that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama would inherit a very difficult economy. This is in the Parliamentary Hansard, November 21st, 2023. That's the page 35. But at the end of 2024, and during the transition, we shared some economic data with you. You agree with me that we exceeded revenue. Same GRA exceeded revenue by, I think, 400 million to, it was 178 billion or so. They exceeded by 400 million Ghana cedis. The economy grew from 2.9% in 2023 to first half of the year to 5.8% in 2024. We managed to tame inflation down to 23.2% from 23.8% in December. The banking sector assets have also improved from 274 billion in 2023 to about 376 billion in 2024, October. The private sector credits increased by 28.8% from a negative of 7.5% in the same period last year. The primary balance has improved from a deficit to a surplus, and we live in a reserve of 7.7 billion, representing 3.5 months of import cover compared to the 2.7 months of import cover of about 5.9 billion in 2023. And you also talked about the debt restructuring. And in there, we also told you how far we have gotten with that. We have done over 90% of that. We are left with just the private sector, the private bits, and we will be done. So, my dear friend, we've known each other way back in our university days, so I can call him a friend. And so, my dear friend, with this data that you have been presented with, how would you describe the 2024 economy that you have inherited?
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Nominee, over to you.
Mr. Chairman, it's early days yet to make a pronouncement on the 2024 outturns. As we speak, there's no outturn for 2024 because whatever you have is preliminary and cannot be said that is outturn. I say this because the transition numbers she's presenting, we did a transition between 9th to about 21st of December. It doesn't give you end year numbers. Mr. Chairman, I heard her talk about revenue, but revenue alone will not give you a picture of the fiscal deficit. You will need to correspond it with expenditure. I'm also aware that between 30th to 31st, we saw the controller paying out about 18 billion cedis. So 18 billion cedis as against the 400 that you gained. There's a deficit. And so let's wait for end year numbers. I don't want to speculate. I will wait for end year numbers, and then I'll present so, if approved, to Parliament. Mr. Chairman, I want to learn from the former president, Sikam Pedide. I will wait till then before I make those statements, and when the time comes, I will present the true picture of the economy. I don't want to speculate at this point. Let's wait for our turns, and the budget will be read maybe next month, so that we don't use this podium to create speculation. And to add to what the first questioner said, whatever we say here today, whatever we do here today has implication. And it's very sensitive to the market, and so let's be careful not to speculate. I don't want to be pushed to speculate. So
Honorable Nominee, you know the rules. What is the meaning of Sikam Pedide?
Mr. Chairman, the former president spoke in French and Cree. I don't understand. I'll wait for
that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes,
Mr.
you may
Chairman.
proceed with your next question.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm glad my friend has confirmed this, because in November 2023, the numbers presented were also provisional, and yet he was able to make a declaration on it. And so, in November 23, all that he said were speculation based on what he just told us, that he will not speculate, he rather wait for the outturn. But in November 2023, The numbers based on which he made that statement were also provisional.
Honorable former minister, is that your next question?
Can I land, Your Excellency? And so, I mean, that's by way of just letting him know that today he's saying that he will wait and not speculate. But in November 2023, these were the same provisional numbers that we gave out, and yet he was able to make a declaration of the true state of the budget. Thank you, my brother. Okay, I move to my second question. And my second question is about resetting Ghana. That's you. Yes, resetting Ghana, and you are in the highest chair to push this agenda. There's a saying that once you first fix your macroeconomy, all other things will fall through. But in your own manifesto, you're saying that you want to shift from over-concentration on the macroeconomy and then prioritize microeconomy. Looking at the current macroeconomic situation, can you say, as you suggested, that it is going to remain the same, that we have fixed the macro such that you can start, you can start quickly with your macroeconomy agenda that you gave out in your manifesto? I just want you to share with us what you think you will do to hit the ground running, as you said in your manifesto, moving away from the macroeconomy because you think we have fixed that for you, and then you want to ride on the back of that to continue with your macroeconomy, as you stated in the manifesto.
Thank you very much. You
The
may
macro
proceed
isn't
to answer.
fixed. Mr. Chairman, I want to leave this with us. Ghana is not out of the woods yet. In fact, we are still in the woods. And there's a lot more work we have to do, as long as the macro is concerned. But it's important for us to understand that you don't only grow the economy from the macro, you grow the economy also from the micro. You don't necessarily create jobs only from the macro, you create jobs from the micro. You don't stabilize the city only from the micro, you stabilize the city also from the micro. Mr. Chairman, it is obvious that in the last many years, Ghana has overly concentrated on the macroeconomy. I think we need to get back to basics. If you want to fix the city and you fail to deal with the structural challenges you face as a country, you will firefight. In the end, it will be short-term. We need to deal with it. Yes, you can use the macro to deal with the short-term challenges. But what about the micro? Now your oil revenue is dwindling by 30%, in fact 37%. And you want cities. You have hydrocarbon asset sitting, becoming stranded. What are you doing at the micro side to make sure you can pump in the revenue, bring the oil out, and then get enough revenue to support the economy? What are you doing? You have a cocoa industry that is collapsing, moving from 968,000 metric tons per annum to less than 500,000. What are you doing? These are micro issues that we have to deal with. And I believe that ministers of finance should not only be at the ministry just to pay people. That is only a function of the Ministry of Finance. But ministers of finance must and will have to also pay attention to the economic development mandate of the ministry. So I can assure you, what we said in our manifesto, we stand by it. We will have to do something different. And when approved, with your help, I would dedicate once again a considerable amount of my attention towards the development of the microeconomy, the rest sectors of our economy, to help create jobs and stabilize our currency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before your next question, Honorable Boa has a follow-up question. You are done. Okay.
Chairman, thank you. I think the question brought you to the cedi's stability. And you know the cedi has depreciated by over 30%, and it's really a matter of great concern. Can you outline some of the steps you take to stabilize the cedi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Bank of Ghana alone cannot anchor the Ghana city. The Ministry of Finance will have to play a critical role in anchoring the Ghana city. Mr. Chairman, in the shortest possible time, it is our responsibility to make sure we reduce inflation to 8% plus or minus 2, the target band, in the shortest possible time. Inflation, 8% plus or minus 2. And we'll do that through a careful but strong front-loaded fiscal consolidation agenda, expenditure-based, let me put it this way. And when we're able to do that, it will help the central bank, the monetary authorities, to be able to save reserves and be able to protect the city or come in to intervene when the need arises. But let me also say that all said and done, that is the short-term measure. But in the long term, as a country, we need to sustainably anchor the Ghana city with a number of policies. And then NDC, through our manifesto, we've announced a number of them. First is the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board, so that we can use the gold in a way to bring in the forex, the needed forex, to support the city in the very short term. Second, as part of our manifesto, we said we are going to revitalize the palm industry and the cocoa industry. We're already in talks with the World Bank to have that and to make sure that happens. I believe the cocoa and the palm industry will also go a long way to support, bring in the needed forex to support. In fact, cocoa had been the mainstay of our economy over the years until recent that the forex is not coming in. We have to do some work, obviously, with the non-traditional export as well. And most importantly for me, we also need to deal with the hydrocarbons that over the last 8 years, Mr. Chairman, the questioner was a former minister for petroleum. You agree with me that in the last 8 years, we've not been able to bring on stream any additional oil field. That is